Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump-Zelensky's spat in the White House widens the rift between the two leaders, derails the US-Ukraine deal. Most European allies rally behind Zelensky. India is emerging as a factory of the world, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Highlights India's rising stature on the world stage. Kurdistan Workers' Party militia declares ceasefire with Turkey after 40 years of conflict. A tense and a highly public showdown between US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has sent shockwaves through international politics. What was meant to be a high-stakes diplomatic meeting quickly turned into an explosive confrontation, leaving the US-Ukraine relations at the crossroads. Here's how it unfolded.
A high-stakes diplomatic meeting turned into a political spectacle as Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky clashed in a fiery Oval Office showdown.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's backed you far more than a lot of people said they should have.
The meeting, originally intended to coordinate a peace plan, quickly descended into chaos as Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance accused Zelensky of not being thankful and rejecting their truce proposal with Russia.
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire.
In this entire meeting, you said thank you. You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
In a heated exchange broadcast globally, Trump and Vance clashed with Zelensky, pushing him to accept a peace deal that required Ukraine to make compromises. Zelensky, however, pushed back, arguing that past peace efforts had failed to stop Russian aggression.
He occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him.
At one point, Vance interrupted Zelensky, calling him disrespectful, escalating tensions even further. The Ukrainian leader left shortly after the exchange, refusing to apologize for the chaotic meeting.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
Later in an interview, Zelensky said that without US support, Ukraine would struggle to hold off Russian forces, underscoring the stakes of the conflict.
It will be difficult for us. That's why I'm here. That's why we speak about the future negotiations. It will be difficult without your support, but we can't lose.
Trump, however, doubled down on his criticism, saying Zelensky did not look like a man who wanted peace.
From his standpoint, I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. I saw it today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that. Not for this country.
With US-Ukraine tensions at an all-time high, the Oval Office clash has raised serious questions about America's future role in the conflict and whether Ukraine can continue its fight without full US backing. With Nupur Sharma, Fuzail Ahmed's report for DD India.
And the meeting between Trump and Zelensky was nothing short of dramatic. Still, European leaders are rallying behind the Ukrainian president. Arti Rana has more on this.
Solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position.
Explosive meeting between US President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky continues to reverberate across the Atlantic.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now.
But European nations have strongly reiterated their support for Ukraine, causing a deepening of transatlantic rift. The leaders of France, Germany and the European Union emphasize that Ukraine's fight is not just about its sovereignty, but about defending European security. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen voiced her unwavering support for Ukraine. EU President Kaja Kallas went a step further, declaring Ukraine is Europe and stating that free world needs a new leader, signaling frustration with Trump's stance. French President Emmanuel Macron called Russia the aggressor while claimed Ukraine a victim. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz emphasized his commitment to Ukraine while stating that Ukraine can rely on Germany and on Europe. Germany's new conservative leader, incoming Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who has said he seeks independence from the US. Similar support came from Sweden, Lithuania, France and the Czech Republic, all highlighting Ukraine's role in defending not just its own sovereignty, but also Europe's security. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer also backed Zelensky and expressed support for Ukraine. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese saying Canberra would continue to stand with Ukraine, though countries like Turkey and Italy have remained silent in the aftermath.
The people of Ukraine have suffered greatly in defence of their nation and their national sovereignty. And Russia has acted like a bully, a big country seeking to invade and to take over territory from another sovereign nation, in this case Ukraine. And like the rest of overwhelmingly countries around the world, we have stood with Ukraine and we will continue to do so.
In contrast, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, a known ally of Trump, supported the former president's stance, adding fuel to the transatlantic rift. On the Russian side, former President Dmitry Medvedev did not hold back, mocking Zelensky and praising Trump's remarks, while claiming that American president was right to call the conflict a dangerous gamble. European leaders largely avoided mentioning Trump or Vance, focusing instead on reaffirming their support for Ukraine as its conflict with Russia enters year 4. The geopolitical divide is clear. The world watches closely as US and Europe continue to clash on how best to handle the crisis. Will this diplomatic rift have a lasting impact on global alliances? Only time can tell. Bureau Report, DD India.
The United States on Friday announced the approval of sale of more than $3 billion in munitions, bulldozers and related equipment to Israel. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio signed off the sales of $2.04 billion in bomb bodies and warheads, another $675.7 million in other bomb bodies and guidance kits, and $295 million in bulldozers and related equipment. The U.S. Defense Security Cooperation Agency said the United States is committed to the security of Israel and it is vital to U.S. national interests to assist Israel to develop and maintain a strong and ready self-defense capability. The latest weapons transactions come after Washington approved the sales of more than $7.4 billion in bombs, missiles and related equipment to Israel earlier this month. Israeli delegation returned from Cairo with no agreement on extending the Gaza ceasefire. Afterwards, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was due to hold consultations with the security chiefs and ministers of his country. Israel had sought to extend the 42-day truce agreed as a first stage in the ceasefire agreement through the Muslim fasting month of Ramzan, which begins this weekend. but Hamas wanted to move on to negotiations over the second stage. The announcement reached last month halted 15 months of fighting, allowing exchange of 33 Israeli hostages and 5 ties for around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees, and was meant to lead to subsequent talks to build on the truce. Israeli officials have previously said that Israel was ready to resume fighting in Gaza if all its remaining hostages are not returned. Egyptian and Qatari mediators asked for some time over the next few days to resolve the impasse over the ceasefire. UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres has said that the Israel-Hamas hostage deal and the ceasefire must hold as talks on a second phase of agreement resume in Cairo.
The ceasefire and hostage release deal must hold. The coming days are critical. The parties must spare no effort to avoid a breakdown of this deal. I urge them to uphold their commitments and implement all of them in full. All hostages must be released immediately and conditionally in a dignified manner. The parties must ensure humane treatment for all those held under their power, and all transfers must be carried out in a dignified way and as per the terms of the deal.
The Kurdish Workers' Party militia has announced that it will disarm and declare an immediate ceasefire with Turkey, heeding to the call of its jailed leader Abdullah Öcalan. This major development marks a crucial step towards ending the 40-year conflict with Turkey. The Kurdish Workers' Party is hopeful that Ankara will release their leader Abdullah Öcalan, who has been imprisoned in near total isolation since 1999. His release would enable him to spearhead the disarmament process. However, the PKK emphasizes that certain political and democratic conditions must be met for this process to succeed. A recent United Nations report highlighting that South Sudan's leaders are indulging in violence and instability in the country. The report reveals that political and military elites are driving the ongoing violence, which is compounded by frequent clashes and political infighting. It condemns South Sudan's leaders for failing their peoples, highlighting serious human rights violation. The report highlighted that despite South Sudan's government earning $3.5 billion between 2022 and 2024, there has been little progress in rebuilding vital infrastructure, and civil servants remain unpaid. Corruption continues to obstruct development, and despite the 2018 peace agreement ending the civil war, no significant improvements have been made. South Sudan's Minister of Information, Michael Makui Lueth, announced the replacement of the army contingent in Upper Nile following clashes.
In Upper Nile and specifically in Nasser area. طبعا الجيش بتاع ناصر ده they have stayed for long, and there had been a demand from the people of Nasser that these people should be replaced.
The International Monetary Fund or the IMF has completed the third review of Sri Lanka's 48-month extended fund facility, enabling an immediate disbursement of approximately $334 million. This brings the total IMF financial support for Sri Lanka to about $1.34 billion since the program's approval in March 2023. While approving the third review, IMF commended Sri Lanka's strong performance under the program, noting that all quantitative targets for December 2024 were met except for the indicative target on social spending. The IMF has also highlighted the necessity of finalizing bilateral agreements with creditors to advance debt restructuring efforts. The bilateral debt restructuring was coordinated by the Official Creditor Committee last year, led by India, Japan and France, and the restructuring. And still to come up on this edition of DD India Live, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi says collective work in building new India is underway. World-renowned experts enjoy a groundbreaking hydrogen bus ride in India.
India is known as the land of yoga. Few extraordinary individuals have taken this magic of ancient wisdom to people around the world.
Paramahansa Yogananda taught that, the basic law of right human behavior is self-reform. And that means if we can put the majority of our effort to changing ourselves for the better, then we will influence others in the world by our example. India has its ancient teachings of yoga has a real place to play in the developing world civilization. And what it means to be a global citizen, to consider the whole world kind of in your embrace.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Amritpal Singh. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the NXT Conclave 2025 at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi today. Speaking at the NXT Conclave 2025, Prime Minister Modi highlighted India's rising global influence, stating that the world is eager to engage with India like never before. Prime Minister Modi also stated that India is becoming a reliable partner in global supply chain as its indigenous defense products are showcasing the power of Indian engineering and technology.
आज भारत न्यू फैक्ट्री ऑफ द वर्ल्ड बन रहा है। हम सिर्फ वर्कफोर्स नहीं, वर्ल्ड फोर्स बन रहे हैं। कभी हम जिन चीजों का इंपोर्ट करते थे, आज देश उनका इमर्जिंग एक्सपोर्ट हब बन रहा है। जो किसान कभी लोकल मार्केट तक ही सीमित था, आज उसकी फसल पूरी दुनिया के बाजारों तक पहुंच रही है। हमारे डिफेंस प्रोडक्ट्स दुनिया को भारतीय इंजीनियरिंग और टेक्नोलॉजी की ताकत दिखा रहे हैं।
Moreover, Prime Minister Modi also lauded India's local for global initiative.
वोकल फॉर लोकल एंड लोकल फॉर ग्लोबल का विजन देश के सामने रखा था। आज हम इस विजन को सच्चाई में बदलते हुए देख रहे हैं। आज हमारे यहां आयुष प्रोडक्ट्स और योग लोकल से ग्लोबल हो गए हैं। दुनिया में कहीं पर भी जाइए, कोई न कोई तो योग को जानने वाला मिलेगा ही। आज भारत के सुपरफूड हमारा मखाना लोकल से ग्लोबल हो रहा है।
And Narendra Modi virtually addressed the post-budget webinar on agriculture and rural prosperity. In his address, he said that India's resolve to move towards Viksit Bharat or developed India is very clear. Adding further, he said that collective work in building India is underway.
विकसित भारत के लक्ष्य की ओर बढ़ रहे भारत के संकल्प बहुत स्पष्ट हैं। हम सभी मिलकर एक ऐसे भारत के निर्माण में जुटे हैं जहां किसान समृद्ध हो, किसान सशक्त हो। हमारा प्रयास है कि कोई किसान पीछे न छूटे। हर एक किसान को आगे बढ़ाएं। हमने कृषि को विकास का पहला इंजन मानते हुए अपने अन्नदाताओं को गौरवपूर्ण स्थान दिया है।
World-renowned experts are enjoying a groundbreaking hydrogen bus ride from the iconic Taj to Bharat Mandapam. showcasing India's commitment to clean energy and sustainable mobility. Among the guests on board are physicist Brian Greene, MIT professor Jonathan Fleming, Dr. Christian Gasparik from the mobility world, and venture capitalist Namit Choksi, leaders in their respective field, discussing the vast window of opportunities that India has in the hydrogen economy and clean energy revolution. The hydrogen bus ride reflects Prime Minister Modi's vision of a green and self-reliant India. This ride is not just a journey across the city, but a glimpse into the future of the green transportation and innovation.
What you need to be a world leader is you need the people who are trained, who are creative, who are enthusiastic, who are energetic. And that's what you have in droves in this country. And so there's a huge opportunity for India to be a leader in this technology.
I think this is going to be significantly cheaper than your regular fuel. And so just in terms of cost parity, I think it'll make a lot more sense. So I think, yeah, to wrap up, I think two things, right? Sustainability, but also like cost parity and financial perspective, it makes a lot more sense.
I don't think there's a clear winner yet. I mean, there has been test operation for hydrogen. The Middle East is actually betting on hydrogen quite a bit. I would say none has really figured it out fully. Maybe India could be the first one.
India has all of the ingredients, starting with the leadership at the top, in order to become this global hub. Because the home market here is bigger than any other home market in the world. So if you're number one in the number one market, you have a really good chance at being the global leader.
India's President Draupadi Murmu visited Dholavira, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, in the Rann of Kutch in Gujarat on Saturday. Dholavira is known for its ancient Harappan civilization remains. Earlier on Friday, the President graced the third convocation of the National Forensic Science University at Gandhinagar, along with a visit to the Smriti Wan Earthquake Memorial at Bhuj. At least 50 workers have been rescued safely after the avalanche at Mana village in northern state of Uttarakhand. While the search operation for the remaining 5 is underway, death of 4 injured workers has been confirmed. Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami conducted an aerial survey to assess and review the rescue operations. He also met with army personnel and officials from the rescue agencies in Jyotirmat. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke with Chief Minister Dhami over the phone to review the rescue operations. He discussed the ongoing efforts to safely evacuate the trapped workers and inquired about the prevailing weather conditions, including rain and snowfall in the state. The Prime Minister assured all possible support from the central government to deal with any emergency situation. Muslims in Sri Lanka will commence their Ramzan fasting tomorrow, as the new moon for Islamic month of Ramzan was not yesterday. The Grand Mosque announced that the decision was taken at a meeting held late yesterday evening. Muslims all over the world will observe the month of fasting and prayers during Ramzan to commemorate the time when Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad on the night of Laylatul al-Qadr. Fasting during Ramadan or Ramzan, the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar, is considered to be one of the 5 pillars of Islam. And South Africa inched closer to the semi-final berth at the Champions Trophy in wake of sensational bowling against England in Karachi on Saturday. England skipper Jos Buttler won the toss and opted to bat against South Africa, but the decision immediately backfired. Led by Marco Jansen's 3 wickets in the power play, South Africa were bundled out England for a paltry 179, which is the lowest total in this edition of the tournament. None of the England batsmen made a substantial score. Only Joe Root overshadowed some resistance with top score of 37. Apart from Jansen, Wian Mulder also picked up 3 wickets, while Keshav Maharaj got 2 scalps. A win will help South Africa see their place in the semi-finals. Star batter Virat Kohli is set for his 300th one-day internationals on Sunday as India clash with New Zealand in the last group match in Dubai. The Indian batting great has silenced doubts over his form and future with a match-winning century against Pakistan last Sunday. The batsman went through an extended lean patch with speculation swirling that he and skipper Rohit Sharma could soon retire. They have already quit 2020 internationals. Kohli has scored over 14,000 runs in one-day format with 51 centuries in 299 games since his debut in 2008. He has 82 hundreds across the formats. If he plays on Sunday, Kohli will be the 22nd player in history to and 7th Indian to enter the 300 club. India's Sachin Tendulkar tops the list with 463 ODIs. And that's it in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. The app is available both on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Amrit Pal Singh from my entire team here in Delhi. Thank you for watching DD India Live.